I am an Omega, destined to spend 4 years in a military academy populated entirely by alphas. As I set up my bed, I muttered curses at the system, you foolish contraption. How could you leave an Omega here? Just then, I lifted my gaze to see someone emerging from the restroom, inquiring, did you just say you are an Omega? And thus, on my very first day at the academy, my secret was laid bare. 01. I am an Omega who hastily escaped from a trash planet. The system, however, has condemned me to endure 4 years at a military academy populated entirely by alphas. Fate seems to conspire against me. I arrived at the school a day early, scouting the premises and preparing for what lay ahead. The dormitory is a spacious flat, dimly lit and eerily quiet. I assumed it would be devoid of company. As I made my bed, I cursed the system, muttering, what a fool, forcing an Omega to stay here. To my surprise, a figure emerged from the bathroom. You claim to be an Omega? He inquired. I flared up, who are you? Lurking in the shadows without a light? Oh please, I'm a pure alpha. If I wanted an Omega, I'd handle it myself. Don't indulge in such fantasies about me. It's revolting. I collapsed onto my bed, my heart racing. While I wouldn't consider myself entirely straight, I had heard that in this world, Omegas would ultimately submit to the pheromones of alphas. If someone discovered my true nature and unleashed their pheromones upon me, I would be reduced to their mere pet. I refused to be a dog. He leisurely dried his hands with a black towel and remarked, your etiquette is lacking, yet your appearance compensates for it. If I were an examiner, I would rate your impression a mere 4 out of 10. How did he know my impression score was 4? It didn't matter. I was already enrolled in the military academy. It was none of his concern. Lying on my bed, I stared at the ceiling, contemplating the arduous days ahead, fraught with peril and uncertainty. My new roommate, Fu Yan, hails from a wealthy and influential family, and while other dorms accommodate 4, his defaults to 2, this works to my advantage. 02. The following day, someone burst through the door, rushing towards Fu Yan in tears. This flat was supposed to be for the 2 of us. You didn't wait for me. Fu Yan replied, you arrived late. The individual then approached me, buddy, would you consider moving out? I'll offer you 300,000. Absolutely not, I replied firmly, shaking my head. If you can secure a single room, I might reconsider. More people in the dorm mean increased risk. From what I've learned about other Omegas, alphas are predominantly brutish and volatile, especially during their adolescent years when pheromones can leak uncontrollably. It's far too dangerous. Fu Yan, however, seems quite restrained. He hasn't emitted any pheromones since last night, suggesting he is self-controlled. The person's demeanor darkened. Single room? My father donated 20 million to the school, and still there are no single rooms available. I reclined back onto my bed. Then this discussion is over. As they exited, I overheard that individual seething, if you refuse to switch, and don't give me Lu Wei, this will not end well. I couldn't be bothered to respond. 03. I lay on my bed, dialing a few of my Omega friends. This world is truly enchanting. My friends are gentle, beautiful, proud, and full of personality. My ideal type. The only downside is that I, too, am an Omega. Curse this ridiculous system. How's your school? Are the teachers kind and the classmates pleasant? I mused, imagining a paradise filled with sweet, soft Omegas. I could hardly fathom how blissful it would be to reside there. As for me, it's unbearable, surrounded by foul, rigid alphas. Their peculiar temperaments and explosive tempers are unbearable. One even threatened me. Don't worry. Who's your little brother? Regardless of how foul or rigid the alphas are, I can take them down. By the way, are your living expenses sufficient? Our Alpha Military Academy has ample ways to earn money. If you're short, let me know. Never let an alpha swindle you over a few coins. We hail from a destitute trash planet, a place where we were neither qualified nor permitted to attend a prestigious school in the capital. Yet, I managed to bind myself to the system. By completing tasks, I can earn money. I brought along several hidden Omegas from the trash planet to the capital. Omegas from my home planet are unprotected. If captured, they face a grim fate, often becoming the shared property of many ruthless alphas. There are no Omega protection laws on the trash planet. Whenever an Omega appears, they mysteriously vanish, with no one knowing whether they were imprisoned or worse. Yet, in the capital, Omegas are cherished. 04. I lay on my bed, devising plans to amass wealth during these 4 years. I registered as an alpha, Without omega suppressants being distributed, I must procure them from the black market, which requires an exorbitant amount of money. How can I earn a fortune? You're broke, yet you want to support an omega? Fu Yan suddenly chimed in, causing me to widen my eyes and sit up. What are you doing here? Didn't you go out with Lu Wei? I came back after you started ranting about how alphas are foul and rigid. I was so absorbed in my thoughts that I hadn't noticed him return. He grabbed a jacket and headed for the door, glancing back at me. If you don't have money, don't pursue an omega. They deserve better. I nearly threw my pillow across the room. What business is it of his? He thinks I'm a penniless, powerless alpha spouting sweet nothings. Perhaps this is for the best. His desire to distance himself from me reduces the likelihood of exposure. 05. Late at night, there was a knock at the door. I replied impatiently, "Who is it?" "It's me." Lu Wei opened the door. I refuse. No visiting hours. He is Fu Yan's friend, not mine. I was busy with an online task. Fu Yan is drunk. The terminal is locked, and he can't enter the dorm. Please let me in. I couldn't care less, I shot back. I'll give you 100,000. I swallowed my curse. I had been working on this online task since 5 in the afternoon, and now it was nearly 9, having toiled for almost 4 hours for a mere 300. Lu Wei opened with a tempting offer of 100,000. No wonder he is wealthy. Is that for real? First, add me as a friend and transfer the funds. Lu Wei complied. After he added me and I received the transfer, I opened the dormitory door. As soon as I did, the scent of high-end liquor wafted in. A delightful aroma that nearly made my legs buckle. This liquor was peculiar. Lu Wei shoved Fu Yan into my arms and swiftly closed the dormitory door. My brother is in his sensitive period. Please take care of him. His pheromones are a bit aggressive and I can't manage him. If you refuse, I'll call the police and demand you refund the entire 100,000. So, that intoxicating scent was indeed Fu Yan's pheromones. The aroma flooded my senses, causing my knees to weaken further. I opened my terminal and checked Lu Wei's transaction, which indeed bore a note. Take care of Fu Yan for 1 evening. What a ridiculous turn of events. 06. The good news is that I have bound myself to the system, which prevents me from randomly going into heat due to alpha pheromones. If it weren't for this safeguard, I would never have dared to enter an alpha military academy. With my legs trembling, I mustered the strength to drag Fu Yan onto the bed, which took me half an hour. His profile was somewhat handsome. I snapped a photo and sent it to my Omega group chat. Your Zawa brother, my roommate. I was engrossed in conversation in the group, unaware of Fu Yan's hand reaching out and pulling me into his embrace. Canine fangs grazed my neck, whispering, so fragrant. Ah, the alpha truly is a creature of virtue. After a prolonged struggle, I finally managed to push him away, yet several bite marks had already marred my neck. Cursed alpha. Fearing that he might succumb to his primal instincts during his heat, I bound him securely. Tucking myself beneath the covers, I drifted into a peaceful slumber. In the dead of night, I was abruptly awakened by muffled groans of distress. I swiftly turned on the light, revealing Fu Yan, his entire body flushed, his mind not entirely lucid. Stealthily, I approached to assess the sturdiness of his bonds, only to discover that he had already freed himself. A powerful arm encircled my waist. Don't go. For the first time, I felt the overwhelming disparity between Omega and Alpha strength.
Danger loomed.
I called upon the system. Enhance my strength. Save me. Fu Yan was about to bite me. His sharp teeth grazed once, then gently nibbled. The duration of his embrace mirrored by the length of his bites. Eventually, he succumbed to slumber. A few hours later, his heat seemed to have subsided. I felt quite the loss. For a mere 100,000, my neck had endured half an hour of licking, now damp, sore and itchy with swollen glands. The following day, Fu Yan awoke, propping his head up, appearing quite pained. He retreated to the bathroom to freshen up, then quietly emerged in a change of clothes. He stood at the sink holding his garments. I cleared my throat. Fu Yan, you attacked me yesterday. That qualifies as workplace injury. I rolled up my sleeves, revealing 2 broad handprints on my arms. You did this. I lifted my shirt, pointing to my waist, where similarly large handprints were marked. You did this. Fu Yan's gaze was heavy, deepening as it rested upon me. He glanced at his hands, disbelief etched upon his features. Finally, he spoke. How much for the injury? Double wages seems fair, right? I earned 100,000 yesterday, so you owe me 200,000. Fu Fu Yan fell silent for a moment, then stepped closer, his voice grave. Transfer. We added each other as friends, and he transferred the 200,000 to me. He hesitated, his gaze complex. I didn't do anything else last night? You did plenty. But I couldn't say it. I firmly shook my head. No. In the afternoon, Lu Wei arrived at the dormitory, peeking in to ensure there was no danger before placing a bag of apples on my desk. For your troubles, a reward. You have no idea that my brother possesses SS-level mental strength and becomes particularly volatile during his heat. Last time I cared for him, he was hospitalized for 3 days. He picked up an apple, wiped it, and took a bite. Thank goodness you're here. Do you need to see a doctor? Your slender limbs might have internal injuries. We have a private physician, no charge. Slender limbs? I pushed the fruit back. No need. Take it away. Fair trade. I pondered. If needed, I can help Fu Yan through his heat in the future, but I will raise my fee to at least 300,000. Lu Wei gave me a thumbs up. Impressive. For that, I can consider you a brother. I remained silent. This time, as Lu Wei and Fu Yan prepared to leave, Lu Wei leaned in to invite me. Are you coming? To the arena, the entry fee is 1,000. I'll cover it. I had heard rumors of an underground fighting arena in City, notorious for its bloodshed and madness, a place where many alphas indulged their curiosities. Ordinary individuals could either strike it rich or completely vanish, teetering on the edge of legality. I intended to go. It was the fastest way to earn money, especially with my system buff. With someone to guide me and a ticket provided, why would I refuse? All right. Fu Yan turned back to glance at me. I let them leave first, waiting for them at the school gate while I sent a message in that little Omega group. Yuzake, heading out today. What do you need? I'll buy it all and deliver. Bro, we want to meet you. After considering, I agreed sure. Once the time was settled, I planned to visit the arena first, then meet them afterward. The underground fighting arena in Haicheng was hidden within a dark alley, particularly discreet due to its proximity to the law. After disembarking, Fu Yan and Lu Wei twisted and turned through numerous narrow lanes before finally arriving at the final junction. I, however, had completely forgotten the way back. Crossing another dark passage, a cacophony of voices erupted, the music deafening. Fu Yan handed me a black mask, which I accepted, his expression remaining impassive. Lu Wei draped an arm around my shoulder. This place is a mixed bag. Gambling, fighting, and even death. Don't let anyone know who you are. All disputes will cease within the arena. That's the rule. On stage, 2 alphas fought, blood staining their bodies. The pheromones of the alphas wafted through the air, sending adrenaline surging among the crowd, inciting frenzied shouts of "Kill the lion! Kill him! Kill him!" The fallen fighter on the ground was utterly incapacitated. Yet the ferocious alpha continued to rain blows upon his face. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. The defeated alpha was on the brink of ruin. Most of these spectators hailed from garbage planets or lower-tier worlds, their brutal fights merely satisfying the sadistic appetites of the elite. The rigid hierarchy of the ABO world was laid bare before me. Fu Yan and Lu Wei appeared pristine and noble, as though these sordid affairs had no bearing on them. The severely injured alpha being dragged away was not regarded as an alpha in their eyes but rather as a discarded performer, an eyesore. I realized I could never befriend them, nor would I choose to earn pocket money here. It was too bloody. Having to fleece Fu Yan or complete system tasks was far preferable to this. Though I was not particularly small, standing at 178 centimeters, I had no doubt that if I were to step into the arena, I would be torn apart. Are you afraid? Fu Yan suddenly looked down at me. TCH. Am I afraid? I simply cannot abide such sights. It was unbearable to witness lives sacrificed for entertainment, while others looked down from their lofty perches, bestowing meager tips. Fu Yan regarded me quietly for a long moment. Those are their choices. The lion was once in their position too. Curiously, I asked, so why are you here? Fu Yan's gaze held a hint of mockery, and for the first time, I discerned a playful glint in his usually indifferent eyes. Fishing, he replied. What? Lu Wei patted my shoulder. Sorry, little roommate, but you've become bait. In the next moment, gunfire erupted in the arena. Everyone screamed. Why is there a gun in the arena? Who brought a gun? Damn it! A gun was aimed in my direction. I froze, paralyzed with shock, my legs turning to jelly. Coming from a garbage planet, I had never witnessed such chaos. My legs felt weak. As the trigger was pulled, Fu Yan suddenly yanked me, Do you want to die? That snapped me back to reality, and I followed him as we fled. There he is. Chase him. I was yanked along by him, my heart beginning to ache and my complexion paling, only then realizing the meaning behind that phrase about fishing. Fu Yan had enemies intent on his demise. He and Lu Wei had ventured into this gray area multiple times, hoping to draw their adversaries out, yet the other party remained unyielding. Thus, Fu Yan brought along someone who appeared relatively weaker me. As anticipated, the opponent struck. With me as a hindrance, I would become a liability to Fu Yan. What the hell? Had I wronged him in a past life? Why was he treating me this way? Upon reaching a narrow alley, we were flanked on both sides, nearly encircled. I thought I was doomed when Fu Yan suddenly yanked me into a dark corner. I wanted to struggle, but Fu Yan covered my mouth, whispering, "If you don't want to die, don't move." One of his hands pressed firmly on my waist, pinning me directly against him, my back against his chest. It was then that I felt the significant height difference, 189 centimeters to my 178 centimeters, making me feel diminutive. I awkwardly attempted to shift away, but his grip tightened around my waist. Move again? What would happen if I did? A slight movement and no one would notice. Was it necessary for him to stand so close just to assert his height? Nevertheless, the alley was cramped, barely wide enough for one person. Fu Yan's breath brushed against my neck, causing my glands to heat up unexpectedly. Goodness, could I really be aroused at such a moment? With Fu Yan still covering my mouth, I wished to negotiate with him, asking if he could refrain from getting so close to my neck. Normally, I wouldn't feel such intense discomfort being so near a man, but in this ABO world, I was an omega, a fact that was rather difficult to articulate. Our pheromone compatibility was an astonishing 98, exceedingly high. As soon as I opened my mouth, Fu Yan's fingers tightened around it. Speak again, and I'll rip your tongue out. What the hell? This was a den of thieves. I understood now. Tears of frustration welled in the corners of my eyes, saliva trickling down my chin and onto my clothes as I desperately wished to plead with him, hoping he would loosen his grip if I remained silent. Fu Yan remained unmoved. I could only find a more comfortable position and tilt my head back. Then, after what felt like an eternity, Fu Yan's heated chest suddenly withdrew slightly. What the hell? I exclaimed, my eyes wide in disbelief. How could a disgusting be so brazen? My gaze accused him. Yet, suddenly he appeared even more uncomfortable, taking another step back. But the space was so limited, there was nowhere to retreat. Don't look at me like that. It makes things worse, he stammered, his expression suddenly innocent. I just came out of my sensitive period. It's perfectly normal. Normal? My foot. This was a workplace injury. Half an hour later, the outside was quiet. Those hunting Fu Yan had mostly departed. I attempted to leave, only to be pushed back by Fu Yan. Wait a moment, he said, his voice hoarse. I was at a loss for words. On the surface, he appeared so aloof and indifferent, yet in private, this state was truly something else. 40 minutes later, we finally emerged, looking a bit disheveled. My eyes were red, glaring at him fiercely, but he remained unfazed, answering a call. Yes, we're out. Did Wei Hung get caught? I'll head over immediately. He was about to leave when he turned and handed me a set of car keys. You can drive, right? My car is outside. Take it back yourself. I was at a loss. I recalled how winding this alley was. How could I possibly know where he parked? I didn't even recognize his car. Fu Yan paused for a moment, seemingly more patient than before. I'll take you out first. As we walked, I called the other Omegases I had arranged to meet. I'm almost there, yes. Please wait for me at the Gold and Silver Plaza. I'll be there shortly. Fu Yan stopped and looked at me. Calling your Omega friends? I raised an eyebrow. Yes. He pondered for a moment. Indeed, AO relationships are healthier. I just didn't expect someone like you to have an Omega. Ha! I'm probably better than you, I retorted, considering how easily he could arouse an Omega. Though I was an Omega, he was unaware. Suddenly, my terminal received a transfer of 1.2 million. Fu Yan's voice turned serious. Be nicer to your Omega. And about today's incident, don't let anyone else know. TSK. Such ambiguous words, as if something had transpired. I accepted the money without hesitation. As we reached the alley's exit, Fu Yan turned back to me, his tone slightly fierce. Don't spend that money on your Omega. That was compensation for my mental distress. I could spend it however I wished. I chose not to drive Fu Yan's car. It was low-key, but I knew it was a limited edition, very expensive. Even a scratch would cost me dearly. More importantly, with Fu Yan's many enemies, driving his car would make me a moving target. I wasn't foolish. My life was of little consequence. Lin Jingning, Jiang Chengxing, and the others could not perish. They were the ones I had painstakingly rescued from the garbage star. They were waiting for me at the Gold and Silver Plaza, waving enthusiastically.
Salva.
My heart nearly melted. Hey, sorry to keep you waiting. This was the healing power of a sweet, soft Omega, far superior to being with those foul and rigid alphas. Zhao Gu, who is he? Lin Jingning asked, glancing behind me. I know, Zhao Ji's roommate. Jiang Qingxing chimed in. I turned to see Fu Yan had followed me. Fu Yan stepped forward. Fu Yan, Zhao's roommate. Nice to meet you all. Are you all his Omegases? Tall, handsome, and courteous. Lin Jingning and Jiang Qingxing blushed slightly. Not quite. Zhao Gu is our big brother. He helped us escape from the garbage star. He's a lifelong good brother. Damn it, that was a direct hit. They regarded me as their brother. But fine. I am an Omega and they know it. Damn system, why did it force me into the wrong gender in this ABO world? Fu Yan unilaterally decided to take them around to familiarize themselves with this capital star. Lin Jingning and Jiang Qingxing happily followed. I cursed under my breath. I had originally intended to create opportunities to bond with them. However, Fu Yan was indeed a great tour guide, taking them to some extravagant places without batting an eye, purchasing numerous gifts for them. To be honest, he was the real scoundrel. Handsome, wealthy, polite, and generous. He could easily cater to everyone's emotions. As long as he wished, countless Omegases would choose to be with him. I felt somewhat deflated. It was akin to being overshadowed by men in mate selection, utterly displeasing. I felt surprisingly lowly. After Lin Jingning and Jiang Qingxing had bought everything, their expenses were 3 times what we had initially budgeted, all covered by Fu Yan. Zhao helped me out quite a bit. It's only right. As we parted, Lin Jingning and Jiang Qingxing winked at me. 2 messages popped up in the group chat. Lin Jingning. Tested him. He's a good A. Zhao Gu is the best. Jiang Qingxing. So generous. Take advantage of him. I have high hopes for you. Use Zhao Gu. These 2. TSK. I casually transferred 500,000 from the 1 million the system had sent. Is Zhao Gu not generous? Lin Jingning and Jiang Qingxing replied. Zhao Gu is the most generous. But in reality, Fu Yan had already spent over 500,000, edging closer to 1 million. The prices in the capital star are exceedingly high, with the most luxurious items commanding the steepest prices. We cannot afford them. Yet it seems that Fu Yan and his companions were born to indulge in such extravagance. Where are your belongings? Aren't you buying anything? Fu Yan suddenly inquired. It seems your dormitory lacks many items. Che, can't I buy things myself? I retorted, my terminal balance substantial. However, I must consider the future, when I may find myself without income, making me hesitant to spend frivolously. I had just been browsing the Omega Mall, which was resplendent and beautiful, while the Alpha Mall was even more dazzling. I had accumulated quite a pile of items in my arms, obscuring my view of the path ahead, and was about to hail a cab when Fu Yan unexpectedly asked, Need a hand? I was startled. You're still here? I've been here all along. Ever since you were drooling over that model gun, he replied. Seriously? I exclaimed. Earlier, he had wandered off to take a call, and I had assumed he had left and wouldn't he return. Perfect timing, I said, transferring the items into his hands. Help me out a bit, good roommate. I still remember how you nearly got me killed by using me as bait, Fu Yan remarked. Did I die? Of course not. Who knows? On the journey back, I feigned sleep in his car, and before I knew it, I had drifted off. The perfectly adjusted air conditioning, the comfortable leather devoid of any unpleasant odor, the soothing background music, and the gentle bumps of the road all conspired to release the tension that had built up within me during the earlier gladiatorial arena. When I awoke, the car was still in motion, and night had fallen outside. Are we not there yet? I asked, bewildered. Fu Yan, gripping the steering wheel, replied, We arrived ages ago. I didn't have the heart to wake you. We've circled the city 7 times. Isn't that a waste of gas? I mused. Couldn't you have woken me up? Was it so difficult? 7 circles around the city. Where on earth were we? I leaned against the car window and peered into the inky blackness outside. What time is it? Surely it's not curfew time? Fu Yan glanced at his watch nonchalantly. It's exactly 11. Curfew time. He feigned innocence. What now? I glared at him intensely. Who was to blame for this? He parked suddenly and leaned closer. No way. Are you really such a model student? Have you never broken curfew? His proximity felt somewhat ambiguous, and I uneasily met his gaze. None of your business. Fu Yan remained unfazed by my glare. You act so innocent yet pretend to be a rogue alpha. I have never encountered an alpha like you. Just a little teasing and you explode with fury. Yet, when you do, it only makes you appear even more endearing. Che, I'm starting to question your AO orientation. Che, I scoffed loudly. You don't want a sweet, soft omega, yet you insist on courting me, an alpha, right? Such a tragic AA romance. A hint of panic surged through me as I tightened my grip on the seatbelt. If Fu Yan were indeed interested in me, I would be in dire straits. I knew his methods, ruthless and devoid of humanity, always armed. I had witnessed his ferocity while evading pursuers in the arena. His family was among the elite in the capital star, wielding immense power, and extinguishing my existence would be as easy as squashing an ant. Damn it! Could it be that my encounter in that dark alley piqued his interest? What a wretched situation. I steadied my nerves and glared at him. Only a pervert would engage in an AA romance. My sexual preference has always been omega. He clicked his tongue lightly, retracting his gaze from me. I never claimed you were into AA romance. Why the rush? He unbuckled his seatbelt, opened the car door, and pulled me out. Let me show you something interesting. We arrived at the infamous den of iniquity in Haishur. Everyone greeted him with utmost respect. Young Master Fu. Fu Yan resumed his indifferent demeanor. Get 3 omegas to the private room. I trailed behind him, almost glaring a hole through his back. Damn it. It just goes to show that no wealthy alpha is ever virtuous. And inviting 3 omegas? What a lavish display. Ha! He pretended to be something at school. But once outside, all of his true nature was laid bare. 3 omegas clung to me, while Fu Yan leisurely sipped his drink across from me. He watched me with a knowing smile. Like them? Have a little fun. Che, fun? To use such a term? That felt like a desecration of the delicate and soft omegas. I could not discern his intentions. Was he testing whether I was into AO romance? Or had he somehow deduced my omega status and sought to evaluate me? I was uncertain. But one thing was clear. My preference was indeed omega. Surrounded by the 3 omegas, I initially felt a twinge of embarrassment. Their bold actions and flirtatious words left me, a lifelong untouched soul, utterly flustered. My cheeks flushed rapidly. I raised my hand to shield myself from their playful touches. Wait, hold on, don't be so eager. I was not equipped to handle this. Fu Yan sipped his red wine, watching me with great amusement. Suddenly, I froze. I noticed the garbage star S mark on their exposed collarbones. The elite of the upper planets would travel to the garbage star every few years to select omegas. It dawned on me that they had been branded and forced into such a fate. I felt an increasing chasm between myself and Fu Yan and his ilk. We were mere playthings to them. I gently traced the brand with my fingers, a profound sadness enveloping me. If it were Lin Jingning or Jiang Chengxing who bore such a mark and were coerced into this life, I would have had no qualms about avenging them. An omega softly murmured, "Young Master G, be gentle." I felt my face flush once more. I leaned closer and asked, "Are you all from the garbage star?" The 3 omegas paused. As they whispered among themselves, Fu Yan's expression darkened. He stood up and approached me. "Leaving? Are you really so addicted to playing?" I hesitated in silence, for the first time refraining from retorting. I looked up at him. "Fu Yan, could you let them go? Just these 3 will suffice, please." Too many was simply impossible. It was an entrenched industry, deeply rooted and complex. However, these 3 had just been brought in, and the den of iniquity would only supply fresh stock to someone like Fu Yan. Fu Yan gazed at me intently, then sighed. "I now believe you truly do like omegas." He summoned the manager and redeemed the 3 omegas. 10 million each? Why not just rob a bank? My mother sold me for only 100,000. One of the omegas hiding behind me piped up. 10 million? 100,000? He had been sold by his mother? But that was of little consequence now. I turned to glare at the manager. "Are you trying to swindle Fu Yan? Do you even know who he is? And you dare to cheat him like this?" The manager was sweating profusely. "These 3 are top-tier selections. They've changed hands several times, and the price has reached astronomical heights." Fu Yan remained silent as he completed the transaction, then asked me, "What do you plan to do with them?" I contemplated for a moment. In my mind, I consulted the system, inquiring whether there existed any elixir that could erase these brands. If only I could remove the garbage star S mark, these individuals could live as freely as omegas from the imperial capital, basking in the adoration of the stars, rather than being viewed as mere playthings. System. Host, you are placing me in a difficult position. Just say if it's feasible, shall we? If not, then I shall forego this task. After all, I am financially secure at the moment and do not require this meager sum you offer. The system replied, understood. Very well. Here is the deal. Hold Fu Yan's hand for 2 hours, and I shall reward you with a vial of potion. If you sleep soundly beneath the covers, another vial. A 15-minute kiss will earn you yet another, and if you engage in non-sleeping activities, that is also a vial. How does that sound? Good grief. The system is utterly deranged. I always suspected that sending this Omega to the military academy had ulterior motives. Impossible. Absolutely not. Fu Yan evidently harbors interest in me. Am I not simply delivering myself to him on a silver platter? My very existence feels precarious. The system interjected. There is no alternative. Generating a substance that does not exist in this world demands significant energy from the system. Fu Yan possesses the most abundant energy. Holding hands alone could yield a vial. What more could you desire? What capacity do you possess to save anyone? Shouldn't you simply look after yourself? The art of provocation. Yet, I am determined to assist. I did not arrive in this world merely to be a meek little Omega. Since witnessing the abused and bullied Lin Jingning, who wept on the ground in the garbage star, I realized that rescuing the delicate Omegas is my mission in this realm. Fu Yan continued to gaze at me. I pressed my lips together. I will rent them a place. They must first conceal those marks, and then I will devise a method to eliminate them entirely. He raised an eyebrow. You can remove them? Previously, there was an Omega on Capital Star who enrolled in a Hidden Gender Alpha military academy to learn about potions, all in hopes of erasing the marks from other planetary Omegas, but he failed. In the end, he went into heat publicly, and many Alphas could not control themselves. No one could stop it. Ultimately, he lost his sanity and ended up in a mental institution. How cruel. Thankfully, I have the system, and I am not subject to involuntary heat. I can. After ensuring the 3 Omegas were settled, I sat in the passenger seat beside Fu Yan, pondering how to grasp his hand. An Alpha holding another Alpha's hand feels rather awkward. Surely, he wouldn't suspect I am interested in a same-sex relationship? Yet, he must suspect it and perhaps covet me, given his striking looks. Those Omegas would flock around him, and while I am not unattractive either, having been pursued by many throughout my life, my height always fell short. Even with a boost, I barely reach 185 centimeters. Deceiving others is one thing, but I cannot deceive myself. Fu Yan gripped the steering wheel and suddenly spoke. That expression in your eyes makes me think you are intrigued by me. How could it not be? Fu Yan raised an eyebrow and turned to look at me. You do have a way with words, I thought to myself, revealing too much. However, this is a perfect icebreaker. If I express my affection for him, asking to hold hands seems entirely reasonable, does it not? Thus, I tentatively suggested, Fu Yan. As roommates, may I take your hand? Fu Yan abruptly swerved the steering wheel, nearly colliding with the nearby greenery. He found a parking spot and stopped the car. Then, loosening his tie, he turned to face me. Jizwa, do you comprehend what you are doing? You are the one inviting. The atmosphere around him felt ominous. Yet I held my ground, swallowing hard. The first step must be taken. An invitation, so what? Fu Yan's gaze darkened suddenly. If it is indeed an invitation, cannot remain so innocent. You should have witnessed it in the alley. Fu Yan leaned closer, caressing my chin, his fingertip pressing against my lips. An aggressively passionate kiss nearly left me breathless. He murmured. Remember to breathe. For what felt like an eternity, Fu Yan wiped the moisture from my lips. My glands flared with heat. He embraced me, guiding my legs to straddle his lap. Has anyone ever told you that you resemble a beautiful, spiky Omega? I felt a bit weak from the kiss, trying to muster some bravado. Get lost, you are the Omega. Witnessing his intent to continue kissing, I quickly called out to the system, is it done yet? I can't endure this any longer. The system responded coldly, processing, cannot see, dear. For the first time, I experienced what it meant to have my lips thoroughly kissed. Though I am not a straight man still, a hand slipped under my shirt. I hastily pressed it down. Fu Yan's voice became husky. What is wrong? Did you not want this too? I don't want it. I've changed my mind. I flipped to the passenger side and fastened my seatbelt. A moment longer and it would truly be problematic. While I am not a straight man, I do not wish to be the one on the bottom. Holding hands and sharing a kiss with Fu Yan is acceptable, but anything beyond that is out of the question. I recalled a rumor I had heard upon arriving in this ABO world. Once an omega is marked, they become an alpha's pet due to their pheromones. I refuse to be a pet. I strive so hard to be a person of dignity. For the sake of the omegas on Garbage Star, I wish for them to live with dignity too. Perhaps sensing my resistance, Fu Yan halted his movements. His suit was disheveled, and in the light, he exuded a certain rebellious allure. He gestured, "What now?" His voice was laced with temptation. "Jizwa, you must assist me." "What?" I thought. Jizwa, have never engaged in such reciprocal assistance with any man in 2 lifetimes. Half an hour later, Fu Yan gazed at me with a hint of satisfaction. "I helped you?" He reached for me and I frantically pressed his hand down. "No, please, let it be. I have never experienced such a vibrant nightlife in my 2 lifetimes. My achievements were remarkable. I secured 3 vials of potion, and the system graciously gifted me an additional one. Detected that Fu Yan is quite pleased. System energy has increased, and the extra vial is your reward. The next day, I planned to leave the academy to deliver these 3 vials. Just then, Fu Yan appeared before me. "Where are you off to? I'll give you a ride." Lu Wei was about to explode. "Fu Go. After a night apart, why are you treating Jizwa so well? Have you forsaken your good friend of over a decade? I did help you deal with that Wei fellow." Fu Yan retorted, "Shut up." Lu Wei exclaimed, "You are heartless. You burn bridges after crossing them. You kill the donkey after the mill is done." I remained silent. Fu Yan, upon seeing the location of yesterday's rental, spoke in a tone that somehow sounded a bit sour. "Oh, are you here to meet your omegas? Am I superfluous in coming along?" I pretended not to notice. "If you hadn't come, I would have had to take a taxi. Your presence is certainly useful." Fu Yan remained silent as he strode forward, grasping my hand firmly within his palm. "Have you forgotten what transpired yesterday, you little ingrate?" I allowed him to hold my hand. His initiative saved me from the need to concoct an excuse. As he held my hand, his actions became more audacious, his lips nearly grazing my neck. This must be what they mean by an old house catching fire. Once the floodgates open, there is no stopping it. I pushed him away. "Be serious." Upon entering, the 3 omegas were engrossed in a game. I had previously instructed them to stay indoors for the time being, and their faces lit up upon seeing me. Zwagu. Their expressions of admiration were profoundly healing, making every effort worthwhile. I produced the 3 vials of potion. This can eliminate the marks from your bodies. Once the marks are eradicated, you will be able to board a ship to the capital star and become its citizens. At that time, the policies of the capital star regarding omegas will also be accessible to you. From this moment forth, you shall be entirely new omegas. One individual first applied the potion to his collarbone, looking at me with elation. "It's fading! It's fading!" After using the entire bottle, the mark seemed to have never existed. 3 omegas surrounded me. "Zwagu, thank you." One person playfully pecked at the corner of my mouth, while another attempted the same, only to be thwarted by Fu Yan. "Gratitude is one thing. Keep your hands to yourself." As I departed, I left my phone number. If you encounter any difficulties, do not hesitate to call me. I possess a system, have received modern education, and in my previous life I garnered a wealth of experience navigating through challenges. There are certain issues that I may be able to resolve. Fu Yan, somewhat envious, remarked, "They can manage on their own. If they were to call you every day, wouldn't you become their customer service? Who has the time to accompany me?" Huh? I was taken aback. "Why would I need to accompany you?" Fu Yan, astonished, took a step back. "I am your boyfriend. If you don't accompany me, who will you accompany? Are you suggesting I should accompany those omegas? Huh? When did he become my boyfriend? When did I become his?" His face was a canvas of accusation and disbelief. "After we were so intimate last night, you claim you are not my boyfriend? You scoundrel." Fu Yan, visibly irked, fixed my seatbelt with a cold demeanor. "You are utterly irresponsible. Jizwa, you are shockingly neglectful." He loosened my seatbelt and pulled me onto his lap. His hand gradually descended, his gaze darkening. "Must we reach the final step for you to acknowledge me as your boyfriend?" The sensations coursing through me made my scalp tingle. 3 minutes later, I could no longer endure. Stop. You are my boyfriend. Let go of me. Fu Yan's voice was slightly hoarse. But I do not wish to release you now. Jizwa, you are so sensitive, just like an Omega. You are the Omega. In broad daylight, I should feel fortunate that Fu Yan's car windows shielded us from prying eyes. I officially entered a relationship with Fu Yan. The progress of the system task surged upward. The system mused. I never expected someone so seemingly difficult to manage would be so infatuated. You've hit the jackpot. Jackpot? I constantly felt as though my posterior was at risk. Fu Yan was not merely a house on fire. It was a 10-kilometer stretch of villas ablaze, impossible to extinguish. He would climb into my bed at night, and the next morning, I would awaken to his kisses. Though I thwarted him every single time at the last moment. His gaze grew increasingly melancholic. If you want tea, let me touch you. Do you not love me? Had I truly denied him? I had permitted him to touch everywhere except that one place. I was at a loss for words. He continued his unreasonable antics. If you do not love me, do you have another dog? If I answered affirmatively, I would be finished, possibly losing everything. I could only say no. Then I had to placate him while protecting my backside. The potions accumulated over time, transforming into a considerable amount, and I contemplated their potential use. They must serve a purpose. Thus, I posted an advertisement online, offering potions capable of eradicating the marks of servitude from trash planets and various other inferior celestial bodies. It wasn't too long before someone reached out to me. To my surprise, it was a superstars from the capital star. He contacted me through his official account, displaying remarkable sincerity. I felt a twinge of anxiety. Aren't you afraid it could be a scam? Gu Mingyu replied, not at all. I have harmed my brother due to my own vanity and selfishness. I no longer wish to remain a coward. Hence, my fans are nearly all aware that I hail from a trash planet and bear a black mark of shame. I even tattooed a black rose upon it. A black rose blooming upon a mark that symbolizes trash and disgrace. Many others were rebelling in their ways. After meeting him, I discovered he was strikingly handsome, with a voice that was incredibly melodious. It was precisely due to his stunning looks and extraordinary vocal talent that he achieved his current success. But what had he endured to reach this point? How much darkness and humiliation had he traversed beforehand? When he mentioned that he caused his brother's demise, what hidden truths lay behind that? What drove him as a public figure to voluntarily disclose his mark of shame? Unable to contain my curiosity, I asked. He smiled faintly, a smile tinged with deep sorrow. My brother, Gu Mingche, entered an alpha school to study potions for my sake. Now, he is in a psychiatric hospital. The pallor of his smile concealed untold grief. I had heard this tale before. Fu Yan had shared it with me. An Omega striving to develop a potion that would allow him entry into an alpha school. Such knowledge was forbidden to Omegas, who were only permitted to learn cooking, food preparation, knitting, and similar skills. In this world, Omegas are the marginalized, and the powerful alphas do not impart such skills to them, much like how capitalists in our world would never readily relinquish production resources. Of course, in our world, we have made significant strides toward equality. This world, too, has the potential for transformation. Gu Mingyu stated that he reached out to me not merely to eliminate his mark. I wish to continue the experiments my brother left unfinished. No one believes he can succeed. Everyone mocks him and no one shows him compassion. This is the world we live in. If they want tea, then I will. I want to show everyone that my brother is a hero, not a joke. To be honest, I have established numerous laboratories dedicated to researching potions. I will not overlook any thread or hint of a lead. That is why I sought you out. I visited his brother in the psychiatric hospital. He was curled up, in a state of extreme anxiety, filled with terror. Upon seeing Gu Mingyu, he gradually calmed down, becoming somewhat dazed. As I approached, he became agitated once more. Brother, he has the potion. He has developed a potion that can help you. Brother, you have succeeded. Brother, do not be afraid. Gu Mingyu comforted him, and Gu Mingche nestled into his embrace, slowly drifting into sleep. I produced the potion. Gu Mingyu hesitated. Could you please step outside for a moment? I was taken aback. Why? A sudden flash of hatred crossed Gu Mingyu's radiant face. My brother was framed and marked in front of the entire school after going into heat. The mark was placed there. Cruel, disgusting, and malicious. I closed the ward door. Outside, I listened as Gu Mingyu soothed his agitated brother for 10 minutes before I heard a surprised exclamation. It really works. I waited a few minutes before re-entering. Gu Mingyu excitedly grasped my hand. Thank you. If these potions can be mass-produced, other omegas will fare much better. You are their savior. May I invite you to visit my laboratory? Then we can arrange for the pharmacy to be handed over to me so we can expedite production. Excitement sparkled in his eyes. Fu Yan suddenly called, Jizai, where are you? It's been ages since I last saw you. Are you off meeting some omega again? You clearly don't regard me as your boyfriend at all. Do you think the omega is more important, or am I? Do you prefer the omega or me? Such unreasonable words emerged from that low, somber voice. I sighed in resignation. You. I like you. You are important. If both you and an omega fell into the water, I would save you first. Are you satisfied now? Fu Yan responded with a contented hum. That's more like it. Where are you? When will you be back? I miss you. Had it really only been half a day since I left? He still missed me? Was he still that aloof alpha I had first met? TSK. Do you remember the potion that could erase the disgraceful marks of the trash planets? Someone contacted me. He has a laboratory and can mass-produce it. I intend to hand it over to him. Fu Yan's demeanor turned serious. Who? This matter is of great significance. All planetary leaders and factions are working on this potion, yet no one has succeeded for decades. This is an achievement that could be recorded in history. Whoever develops it will gain the support of the leaders and factions, wielding considerable influence. Can the other party really be trusted? I replied, it's the singer Gu Mingyu. Fu Yan demanded, where are you now? I'm coming to find you. He may not be reliable. Why didn't you tell me about such an important matter? You clearly don't consider me your boyfriend. Again, I pondered for a moment before adding, I'm at a psychiatric hospital, the one you mentioned where the Omega research failed. I could hear the engine roar as Fu Yan's voice turned icy. Don't hang up. I'll be there shortly. Gu Mingyu had already arrived behind me. Shall we head to the laboratory? I shook my phone at him. Just wait a moment. My boyfriend will be here soon. He replied with an amused smile. Let's go first. He can come later. A sense of unease washed over me. The next moment I suddenly felt weak. Gu Mingyu caressed my face. I've been developing this for over a decade. My brother suffered a mental breakdown, lost his reputation, and nearly paid with his life. How could you just take away the fruits of my labor? This potion can only be developed by the Mingche laboratory, only by them. I'm afraid I must impose on you. Thank you for your potion. Once we've developed it and secured the patent, you will be released. As for your boyfriend, let's keep him locked up too. I was shoved into a car. Humanity. TSK. In truth, I didn't care whose name was attached to the potion. It was of no consequence to me. If he had sincerely asked, I would have been willing to let him have it. After all, he and his brother had sacrificed so much for it. But now, according to the system's intelligence in the entire ABO world, no one dared to challenge Fu Yan and the Fu family head-on. I could only hope Fu Yan wouldn't go mad upon realizing I was missing. I could no longer withstand the effects of the drug and completely lost consciousness. When I awoke, I found myself in an interrogation room. Fu Yan was interrogating Gu Mingyu. Gu Mingyu was on the floor, looking disheveled, as if he might faint. Fu Yan snapped his fingers, and an alpha splashed a basin of cold water over him. Fu Yan raised his hand. Just throw him out. He might be trying to follow in his brother's footsteps. Then let him. Gu Mingyu was burning up, his consciousness fading. No, please, he pleaded. Or just kill me. He screamed frantically. Don't kill me. Please. Brother. This was the first time I had seen Fu Yan so enraged. It startled me. I watched as the alpha seemed ready to throw the aroused Gu Mingyu out. I hurriedly grabbed Fu Yan's hand and gently shook my head. Fu Yan, could you give him a suppressor injection? And then release him? Fu Yan squatted before me, cupping my face, studying me for a while before sighing softly. You are too kind. He should be grateful you're unharmed. Otherwise. Fu Yan's voice turned cold as Gu Mingyu was taken away. To break the silence, I awkwardly attempted to change the subject. You arrived quite early. It gives me a sense of security. He scoffed. Not early enough. Gu Mingyu is a cunning rabbit. He can escape easily. If I weren't Fu Yan, I might not even see you. I continued to flatter him. My boyfriend is amazing. He pressed further. If your boyfriend is so wonderful, shouldn't there be a reward? I held his face and gave him a firm kiss. His Adam's apple bobbed as he returned the kiss with more intensity. Alpha wife, you're irresistible. I felt a wave of embarrassment as my gaze wandered. In truth, I was an omega. Should I tell him? If he found out, would he go mad? His current restraint stemmed from thinking I was an A. AA pheromones repel each other. If he learned I was an O, would he still hold back? Goodness. Perhaps it was best to keep my true identity concealed. Fu Yan held a press conference. During the event, several omegas voluntarily demonstrated the potion's ability to erase marks. The developer of this potion happens to be my boyfriend, the future partner, Jize, a first-year student at the Alpha Military Academy. The spotlight shone upon me. I pondered for a moment and declared, "Everything is for the omegas." This remark stirred a tremendous uproar, sending shockwaves throughout the galaxy. The news spread like wildfire across the entire star system. The potion capable of erasing the disgraceful marks of trash planets and lower-tier omegas has been developed. Omegas have hope now. I was hailed as a hero. A wave of panic washed over me. The system chirped. "Isn't this wonderful? Your reputation is soaring, and so is the system's energy. With ample energy, you can avoid tasks." What? I'll log off for now. After suppressing your heat for so long, this time just be a true omega. Damn it! After the press conference, I ended up at Fu Yan's villa. The villa was so spacious and the bed so soft that I couldn't bring myself to leave. Now, I lay sprawled on Fu Yan's bed. After a delay of over a decade, the heat surged forth, my glands burning. Fu Yan was about to enter. I blocked the door, my voice hoarse. "Don't come any closer." I knew that if I let Fu Yan in, everything would be lost. I would be thoroughly consumed. Every part of me explored. But my body was so hot, the pheromones were leaking, and I was losing control. Fu Yan's eyes turned bloodshot. "Is that an omega's pheromone? Jize, you dare seek out omegas behind my back? Unforgivable, unforgivable, unforgivable. I will die," he said, forcefully pushing open the door to find me flushed and nearly unconscious in the room. His voice faltered, trembling with disbelief and excitement. "The pheromone is yours? Jize, you're actually an omega." He gathered me into his embrace, sitting me on his lap, his lips brushing against my glands. "Beg me, call me husband, and I will give it to you." My glands were burning hotter. I was on the verge of tears from the torment. "Can you do it? If not, I'll find someone else." "My dear, has anyone ever told you not to say no in front of men?" The beta butler, having spent the day in the garden and witnessed the sunset, reflected, "Ah, youth is truly wonderful." My body felt utterly worn out. It was not until the 10th day of recuperation that I gathered enough strength to confront him. That rascal was still chuckling as he held me. The system dictated when to flee, and after much effort, I finally cornered him, launching a 10-minute tirade against his despicable act of cowardice. "You should have at least waited for me to prepare the suppressants." The system, munching on sunflower seeds, queried with skepticism, "Did you not find it enjoyable? Enjoyable? Engaging in such trivial matters?" The system, in its ignorance, could not comprehend. After a moment of jest, I directed my thoughts toward a more pressing issue. "Do you possess any medication for treating mental illnesses? Specifically for Gu Mingche?" I always felt that someone like Gu Mingche should not languish in a psychiatric hospital. He deserved a more illustrious and fulfilling life. The system smacked its lips. Initially, it was deemed impossible. However, since you had an encounter with Fu Yan, the system's energy has surged significantly, allowing for an occasional exception. Fu Yan and I proceeded to the psychiatric hospital. After some contemplation, I decided to call Gu Mingyu. Fu Yan, having listened to my concerns, chose not to pursue the matter further at that moment. However, due to his disdain for Gu Mingche, he would often disrupt his concerts, leading Gu Mingche to gradually cease performing. I was surprised when I managed to connect with the number Gu Mingyu had left previously. "I'm going to see your brother. Where are you now?" "At my brother's place." Fu Yan and I exchanged glances and pushed open the hospital room door, where we indeed found Gu Mingyu singing to his brother, who was peacefully resting in his embrace. I cleared my throat and declared, "I can heal your brother." Gu Mingyu's eyes widened in shock before he cast them down in despair. "Impossible. Cannot be done. I've consulted numerous renowned doctors, yet none could help. My brother no longer wishes to live. I am merely prolonging his suffering. He cannot be cured. May I try?" Was it not the case that no one could eradicate that mark before? Gu Mingyu gently set his brother down, rose, and grasped my hand tightly. "I'm sorry. I beg you. In truth, for all these matters, the system deserves the credit. I am merely the executor. The system's creations are undoubtedly exceptional." Gu Mingche blinked awake, confusion evident in his gaze. Xiaoyu? And who might this be? The system interjected. I have repaired his nervous system, adjusted his hormonal secretions, and simultaneously mended the receptors. His body is now in excellent health. I have also erased his painful memories, leaving his recollections frozen in time before attending the Alpha School. Gu Mingyu was already in tears. He embraced his brother tightly. Gu! The two brothers held each other closely. Gu Mingche, still bewildered, could not fathom why his brother was so emotional, but he reciprocated the embrace, offering him comfort. Fu Yan and I quietly retreated. Oh no, I forgot to inform Gu Mingyu to have his laboratory develop and promote it, but it can wait until later. Suddenly, Fu Yan hurriedly scooped me up. This is bad. Your husband's sensitivity period is approaching. Dear, we need to leave quickly. That rascal experiences 7 days of sensitivity within a week. But alas, it seems one need not always be in a position of power. After all, in this ABO world, I am a cog with insufficient strength. The end. Thank you for listening. We shall meet again in the next story.